Welcome to Being Revealed with Stephanie and Alex. I'm Stephanie Cunningham.
And I'm Alex Holtzaffel.
We started this podcast to talk about the journey of personal and spiritual growth, ours and others. Thanks for joining us as we figure things out together. This episode is brought to you by the Revelation U Seekers Discovery Circle. This membership will be rolling out live in January. If you're a seeker on the path of self-exploration and spiritual awakening, join our community of like-minded individuals who are passionate about engaging in soulful dialogues and reflective practices. Together, we aim to reveal personal and spiritual truths, deepen our connection to ourselves and others, and create a life that feels deeply satisfying. If you're ready to embark on a transformative journey of self-discovery and growth, join the Revelation U Seekers Discovery Circle and let's support each other as we navigate the beautiful and sometimes challenging path toward a more enlightened life. Learn more and get on the membership waitlist at revelationu.com/seekers. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, 2024. Man, 2023 went quick.
It went really quick. It did. There was a lot that was packed into 2023.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had our own challenges, mainly physical stuff with both of us.
Oh my gosh. I never felt so old before in my life.
Well, it started off with a heart attack.
It did.
You had a heart attack.
I did have a heart attack. I was way too young to have a heart attack. So.
Well, they didn't find anything, though. It's the crazy thing.
Right. That was the crazy thing. I think, like blood pressure. I found out that all those crazy symptoms that I had been having for the last couple years was high blood pressure.
Yeah.
So, and I never had a high blood pressure reading.
No, even you went to the doctor, it was fine. And when you went in with the chest pain, it was really high, right? Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I'm not, maybe that did cause it, but they didn't find a single blockage or anything. So maybe it was a spasm that caused it. But yeah, we started off the year with that.
It was a January 8th.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were packing up the Christmas stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. They're like, were you doing anything strenuous? I'm like, I was lifting an empty box.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, well. I was like, that wasn't really heavy. But yeah, that was crazy. I know the last time we talked, we did the impact of relationships on spiritual growth. Mm-hmm. And we were going to revisit a part 2.
Yeah.
And we're going to do that actually next time. We were going to do it this time. But then we were talking, you were like, hey, it's the end of the year. Maybe we should revisit 2023. And I thought that was a good idea.
Yeah.
So we're going to shift. If you were waiting for the part 2 of impact on relationships, that'll be the next time. Mm-hmm. So we're just going to do kind of like a 2023 recap and 2024 like intentions.
Yeah,
I guess
the typical New Year's stuff. You know,
right.
Everyone New Year's resolutions. I'm gonna be a better me. You know.
Yeah.
Oh, this is my year. It's that type of stuff.
Right. No. And that always works out so well.
Yeah, we make these goals, and then a couple weeks into it, we totally forget.
Yeah.
You know.
That's one thing I stopped making resolutions and goals a couple years ago, several years ago, because they just don't work for me. Mm-hmm. I usually now I kind of set intentions, right? So kind of they're big picture, which I'm more of a big picture person. So they just feel a little bit better to me, and I just think about how do I want to feel in the new year, how do I want to feel in this particular space, and I kind of set the intention to move in that direction.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's almost like dieting. It's hard to maintain. Really, it's about daily living, and daily goals. Like if you make a big goal for the year, I think you lose track of it, you lose sight of it. But if you go into each day with a mindset or a goal or an objective, then it's easier to obtain. You know? So.
Yeah. I created a course for people who are highly sensitive, ADHD, ADD, and it's it's essentially spiritual goal setting.
Mm-hmm.
And it's 5 steps to creating goals and actually completing them.
Yeah.
and that's really what it has to do with, because a lot of people who are highly sensitive have trouble with goals, and people who are ADD, ADHD as well. You know, there's so much pressure. There's a lot of feeling attached to them. You know, that's why I created that course, basically for myself,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it really talks about how do you want to feel rather than talking about specific items.
Mm-hmm.
There might be specific items that you want to check off the list. You know, just make sure they match up with how you want to feel, because you're more likely to achieve a goal that has to do with changing how you feel than just a goal that's out there, you know, randomly. Not randomly, but, you know, it's really all about feeling.
Maybe we set too big of goals, or, you know, that could be.
Or we set goals that don't really match up with us. We set goals that match up with society rather
That's a good
than
one.
what we really want to feel.
Mm-hmm.
Or we think that that's going to get us to feel something different than we feel right now.
Mm-hmm.
So if we just kind of, you know, reverse engineer it and start at the beginning, or start at the end, I guess, really, with how do you want to feel, start from there and move forward in that direction. That was a long way of saying I like set intentions, or think about how I want to feel in the new year.
Yeah.
So 2023. What were some themes of 2023 in your life that made a big impact?
Well, I guess when I think of 2023, I think, like I said before, the physical stuff we had going on. Like, you had your heart attack, and then I had neck surgery, and I was dealing with that kind of started in February, and my surgery was in August. So there was just a lot of like stuff going on that we didn't expect.
Boy, it started in February. That's a long time.
Yeah, and I didn't really mention anything to you until like April, maybe.
Yeah, March, April.
So,
end of March.
Yeah, like started having weakness in that left arm, and then numbness and tingling, and I couldn't really feel my arm all that well. And then finally reached out and, you know, to a doctor I know, and got the ball rolling on figuring it out. But I didn't think it, you know, I never really had neck issues. I figured it was like my scapula, shoulder blade. But yeah, come to find out, tons of arthritis and bone spurs compressing the nerve. So yeah. So,
and I remember you had mentioned it a little bit. Like, you've always kind of mentioned,
stiffness.
My neck, or you know, something. But you didn't really, like, that was over the years, and you didn't really, it didn't really seem like it was a big issue.
Yeah.
I think when you mentioned it to me in a way that it felt like a big issue to you was when you were at the gym and you couldn't use your arm like you.
Yeah, I think I was doing dumbbell presses and the left arm just stopped working.
Yeah.
And then I think when I mentioned it to you, though, was when I was going out to play ball with Kyle and trying to catch the ball. And I was like, well, I can't feel my arm. And you were like, what? And I'm like, yeah. So, yeah. And that just, you know, your heart attack and going through that, and then my surgery, and then I guess we're getting old. We're not that old, though, but, you know.
Yeah, we're not that old. I think, you know, 2023, what it kind of did to me was it made me see myself in a different way, you know, an older way.
Fragile.
It's the first time I really felt connected with my mortality.
Yeah. Well, that's,
I guess.
Yeah. It was your situation. A heart attack is life or death, you know, so.
And, I mean, it was a heart attack, yes. I had no blockages, like everything. It was the best kind of heart attack you could have.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, as heart attacks go.
Yeah.
But it's still, like, I did cardiac rehab because I was nervous to do any kind of activity on my own without being monitored. And I think doing cardiac rehab helped me process it in a way that I couldn't have processed it any other way, you know? So, you know, at 45, I still feel, and if you're younger than us, And you're like, oh, 45 seems like super old. Well, let me tell you, at 45, you're going to feel 20.
Yeah, I don't feel that old.
You know?
I'm 42. So,
right.
Yeah.
So it feels like you don't feel like you thought you would feel when you were 45. Right. I still feel the same way. And you do too.
Yeah.
As you did when you were younger, which is probably why a lot of people our age break hips ice skating or roller skating. Yeah. Because we think we're young still, which we are. But I don't know. At 45, to be told you had a heart attack and you have high blood pressure, it's like, what? I'm not old enough for that stuff yet. You know, and that's stuff like our parents deal with. It's not something we deal with. That was, that took a minute. It took a long time. It took a long time to even process the fact that, you know, I had a little fear about my mortality, you know.
Yeah.
But then 2 weeks after I had the heart attack, I sprained my ankle.
Was it after? I was thinking it was before.
2 weeks after. Yeah. I was so mad. I was so mad that happened. But that was a whole nother issue. So yeah, it was a year of health problems.
Yeah.
Gosh, that sounds so depressing.
Luckily, things are going good now. So
yeah, although I'm sick, you know, well, yeah. Right? But that's no big deal.
You know, going back to as far as like, what did I learn in 2023 or something that stuck out to me as far as behavior or learning something, I would say learning like sacrificing myself and giving of myself. And I feel like I did that well in 2023. And a lot of it had to do with like Kyle had a ball game or something, waking up early and going to that. And then we got a puppy. So learning to sacrifice my time and energy to keep an eye on him and take care of him. And even still now, like there's things I'm doing that, you know, before work, I'm taking him for a walk. And when I come home from work, and rather than doing the stuff I'd always done, I'm doing like stuff to take care of him. So to me, that's kind of like a big thing. I guess being selfless, I don't know.
I would agree that I saw a lot of that in 2023 and you. We so appreciate it, you know, and I know that Kyle appreciates you being at his games and helping out with practice. You did a lot of helping out with practice in the spring, and he wanted you there. And I was like, do you want me to go or do you want Alex to go? He's like, I want Alex to go. You know, it's like I'm chopped liver anymore between you and his dad. He'd rather bro out, you know. You know, so that was, and you went before you had to go to work. Yeah,
and that's, you know, I work night shifts, so it can be hard to sacrifice sleep, and but it all seemed to work out okay. It seemed like it, so.
And you enjoyed it. And then the puppy. Woo, yeah. It is like a lot like having a baby. I mean, because he doesn't know what's going on. He has to be taught and trained, and he's doing really well now. As far as like potty training, and he's not in his cage very much anymore unless we're going to be gone for, you know, a few hours. You know, we'll put him in there just in case. He'd probably be fine, but, you know, we don't want to give him the opportunity.
We don't want to give him too much freedom yet, although he would probably be good. I mean, he hasn't had an accident in a long time and doesn't really get into anything yet. But, yeah, there's been some things lately where he was chewing on the baseboard for the first time. It's like, what? You never done that. Like, but you know, that's the thing is that, and we found out that we really have to get that energy out of them, or those things happen. So
you're taking him to the dog park every day.
And you do that too, and you sacrifice your time for that. And that's, you know, I feel like I need to do my part too. And even though I get home from work and I'm tired, it's like I need to take him on a walk, and I don't want to leave it all up to you to do. And you might not be able to do it either. So then what do we have then? We got we got Professor Chaos
We
running
got
around
Professor-
the house. And tearing stuff up and trying to bite us. And
Yeah.
he just has so much energy, and
Mm-hmm.
he just gets crazy if he doesn't wear himself out. So
Mm-hmm. We go to the dog park, and people love the name Butters.
mm-hmm.
Butters was named after a character on South Park, which is one of Alex's favorite shows. And his alter ego
It's Professor Chaos.
is Professor Chaos, and that matches up so well
Mm-hmm.
with our sweet little Butters.
Yeah.
Because on South Park, Butters is a sweet little guy.
He's naive and goofy and
Mm-hmm.
kind of ignorant.
Mm-hmm. And then turns into Professor Chaos. Yeah, so yeah, people definitely resonate with that at the park.
Yeah.
With our sweet little Butters. So Professor Chaos is here today.
He plays hard, but yeah,
Uh-huh.
if he doesn't get that energy out, he is Professor Chaos. So
Yeah. I'm glad so thinking about what we learned, that was one thing that we learned because he was crazy at first. We're like, what can we do? Oh my gosh, we were worried about him. And then we started taking him to the dog park every day, and literally everything changed.
yeah, because we would take him out like in the evenings around 7, 8 o'clock. We'd take him out to the bathroom, and he would get these zoomies, but they were like aggressive. He
Yeah.
would like lunge at you and bite and just jump up, and so his zoomies for whatever were like that.
Yeah.
But then we found once we started letting him go to the dog park and run and play that he wasn't like that.
Yeah.
So it just.
So if you have a dog like that, try taking them to the dog park
Yeah.
every day, or doggy daycare.
Yeah.
That works too.
Again, being able to play and run and do all that. But yeah, so I think with me, selfless was a big thing. I feel like, I mean, that's the thing that sticks out the most for me. I can't. I'm trying to think about what else I might have learned. Maybe managing emotions, but that I think that I want that to be a goal in 2024. We can talk about that in a minute. But what about you? Was there anything that you really learned or that stuck out to you that maybe to help you with 2024 or anything like that?
Honestly, 2023, I know this is going to sound weird that I'm sharing this, but I feel like I backslid a little in 2023.
With your business or with
personally with just motivation,
Mm-hmm.
with clarity.
Yeah.
It's hard to communicate verbally.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like I backslid a little bit.
Yeah.
Um,
Did you just not feel like yourself?
I feel like I felt disheartened.
Mm-hmm.
Felt like I felt disheartened a little bit. I felt probably from the heart attack too, the mortality thing.
Yeah.
I think there's some underlying fear
Maybe some
in there.
post-traumatic stress kind of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not understanding my body
Mm-hmm.
anymore,
Yeah.
where I felt like I understood my body before
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't understand it anymore. I don't understand why it did that. And it's frustrating because there's no real clear-cut answer.
Yeah.
It's like almost that you would prefer to have a blockage.
Yeah, so
So there was like a specific reason, but the fact that there wasn't feels a little loosey-goosey, and it's like, well, shit, anything can happen anytime,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
which anything can happen anytime. We logically know that,
Mm-hmm.
but this was an event that proved that,
Mm-hmm.
if
Yeah.
that makes sense. And I think it had a bigger impact on me than what I even realized.
Mm-hmm.
I may have slid into a little bit of a depression, which is kind of hard for me to tell that sometimes because I'm so focused on doing the next thing all the time. Like you might see me doing things
Mm-hmm.
rather than exhibiting traditional signs of depression.
Like keeping busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I'm doing things and I'm trying to figure things out, and I'm just moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like I'm moving forward. But really, I feel like 2023 was more treading water.
Mm-hmm.
Or even like flowing backwards a little bit.
Yeah.
So I did end up going to therapy towards the end of this
Mm-hmm.
year. And like I think I started it in August.
Yeah.
And that was helpful. I have one more session. I think we're going to pause for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that was helpful, and I needed to do that. I don't know if I got to the real bottom of the barrel
Mm-hmm.
as far as what was going on. But I don't necessarily know how to get all the way down yet.
Yeah.
So I'm still kind of in that process of figuring out what's all kind of down there.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, this is getting
Getting personal. a bit.
yeah. No, but it's good
No,
because
yeah.
we all kind of feel that way. And
When you had
sometimes-
mentioned even before, you're like, I think I might need to
Mhm.
go seek some counseling just to work through some stuff, and you finally did.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that takes a lot,
hmm
and there's nothing wrong with that.
No. I think it's definitely good
Mm-hmm.
to do that. And we talked about that last time too. Just being aware that maybe there's something that needs to come out,
Mhm.
even if you're not really sure.
Yeah.
So, and I slid back on some of the spiritual practices that I was doing, and I wasn't really proud of myself for that,
Mhm.
and I would ramp it up a little bit, and then I would start to feel a little disconnected again in some of those processes. So, I'm feeling really good. I've been feeling really good the last probably month or so about those practices
Mhm.
and really ramping them up again, and really being interested in finding new ways and new practices to engage in.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited about that,
Yeah.
and that feels good. But 2023, and then not to mention, I don't want to discount the fact that there was a lot globally that was going on in
Mhm.
2023 and is still going on in 2023 that feels heavy
Yeah.
and feels like a lot. So every year though, we have things globally that are happening. So
Mhm.
not to discount again what was going on in 2023, but it feels shaky. And I think I felt a little shaky too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're going to have years like that. We're going to have
Yeah.
days like that, months like that. So,
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you need those in order to turn a corner.
Mm-hmm.
But, hopefully 2024 will be better
Yeah.
and you work through some of that stuff. Getting Butters really cuts into that too. Like, we got him, and it really took a lot of our personal time away from us to
Mhm.
do stuff too. You kind of
Mhm.
sacrifice your time to work on yourself to
Mm-hmm.
spend time with him. So,
Mm-hmm.
that,
It did really
you know,
kind of, yeah, having something that needs your constant attention, and puppies need constant
Mhm.
attention. Like are they eating? Are they pooping? Are they
tearing
tearing
something
something up?
Yeah.
Are they, and it's just teaching a 10-year-old how to navigate a puppy as well.
Mhm.
That's something that we had to do, and we're still doing, teaching him how to take care of a puppy, how to touch a puppy, how to,
Play with him.
play with
Mhm.
him. All those things are important. And I just over the last couple of days, I feel like we've turned a corner with that too. And Butters is really leaning into Kyle in a new way, which is really fun to watch. So you're right. A lot was going on,
Mhm.
and I was worried about you and, taking care of you during that time when you were off work
Mhm.
after you had, your surgery, and making sure that I was taking burdens off of you so that Butters wasn't, and you did a lot with Kyle before that. So it was like, managing, doing more with Kyle and
Yeah.
doing more with Butters and making sure that you were able to heal, appropriately. Because that was really important. We wanted to make sure that you were doing everything that you could do to heal, because this is a surgery that you want to last and you want to do everything that you can to make sure that it sticks.
Yeah, and that it heals right and the neck fuses right. But yeah, you guys were a big help, and I was concerned that it was going to be too much on your plate, but everything
is fine.
Worked out good. And
the healing process seemed to, in general, go really well for you. And then had some ups and downs as well, which I think is so normal. Because especially when you're at the end where you're feeling, or the end of your time off, where you're like, I'm feeling pretty good, but I shouldn't really do this stuff, but I'm ready to go back to work, but maybe I shouldn't. And there's just kind of that sense of, what am I supposed to be doing?
Well, and I think the hardest part was the mental part of being home for 10 weeks and not being able to do anything, and then quit smoking and doing all that. And we might have talked about it on other podcasts, but that there was a lot of anxiety when I went back to work and stuff, and there's still some, but yeah, so trying to work through that, and that stuff is new for me as far as like, the anxiety and all that stuff. But that's something that here towards the end of 2023 and then going into 2024, it's like learning to identify those feelings and emotions, and learning when it's legit and when it's just like it doesn't hold any truth, like the fear and the anxiety. 99% of the time there's nothing based. It's just there. So it's like I have to talk myself through it and tell myself like this, this holds no power. There's no reason to be nervous or be fearful, or so there's a lot of that going on. But it's interesting how these things pop up,
Really,
so,
yeah.
Out of nowhere.
So thinking about 2024, do you like to set goals, or do you have resolutions? What is your practice?
No, I never.
This year?
I've never, even when I was younger, to me, that's like making a wish list. It seems like it just doesn't seem like it holds any like bearing, or is really a good way to. You can set goals any day, any month, so I think like when a new year starts and deciding, well, I want to do this, or I want this to happen this year. I've never been into it, but I can understand why you would. It's a new year. So it's like, I want to do things differently. I want to be a different person. You can decide to do that anytime.
Absolutely.
You don't have to wait till the new year to do that.
Yeah. And a lot of times we start out thinking, I want to be a new person. I want to do this stuff. And then 3 months later, we're like, oh, we didn't really do that. I'm going to start it. I'm going to start it now.
Yeah.
So there's nothing for 2024 that is on your agenda?
Well, when I was thinking about it earlier, and like I said, I think maybe being more conscious of my emotions and how I react to them, and trying to process them maybe differently. And I think that's always been a goal, or always been like not reacting, but really trying to pay more attention to it and not let my emotions like control me or dictate who I am. Because, like I said, there's a lot of stuff that's come up since the surgery, like that really, like the anxiety and the nervousness that really doesn't have any truth to it. So when that stuff tends to come up, examining it and realizing that there's no truth to it and not giving it any power. And I can kind of do that with all my emotions. If I feel like I'm feeling irritable and angry over something, you can work through that stuff. You don't have to react to it. So I think that's something that I might want to, and it's not like a goal or it's just be more conscious of and try to do better. If anything, I think that's what I want to try to implement.
That sounds really great. And what a blessing to have had your self-awareness that has been with you for decades because of the program.
Yeah.
That enhanced your ability to become self-aware. And that is a skill that you learned. And now here it is 20 years later, you're still putting it into practice every day.
Well, yeah. And I don't think I've always done a really good job. And I've been self-aware, but I don't always really like put it into action, I guess. You can be self-aware, but then if you don't like try to correct the stuff, then so.
Yeah, that's huge. Yes, that's a great point. The action action part is a little tougher. But I love that for 2024.
Yeah. What about you? Is there anything?
So a couple things that were started at the end of 2023 that I'm excited to move forward with in 2024. One is this podcast. I really enjoy doing it, and we've gotten some good feedback on it. People like to hear our stories and our conversations. And so I'm excited to continue that into 2024 and just see where it goes.
Yeah.
And it's fun doing something with you that's just different.
Yeah.
I really enjoy that and appreciate it.
I think it helps. I think it helps us talking about the stuff too, because then we take a step back and think about the stuff.
And the membership, the new platform, that was created in quarter 4. I'm excited about that, and I'm excited to take that into the new year and see how that grows. It's been something that's been small. It's been a small group of people who have been beta testing it. And I'm excited to kind of take it out to the masses and learn more about what people want from a membership like this, and just kind of watch it evolve,
And you have a lot of coursework in there, right? And
yeah, there's coursework, there are weekly email, like kind of coaching emails that have invitations for like exercises. There are also, so there's quarterly themes, monthly kind of mini courses, weekly emails, daily inspirations. I really love too that we have people in the network who are sharing things out there as well. That's the intention, right? So it's not just me pushing stuff out. They're sharing things out. They're sharing things too that are inspirational to them, or that, like Brandy put a podcast, or not a podcast, a playlist out there, like a meditative playlist to listen to when you're walking.
Yeah.
And so I love that people are sharing those things too that are important to them. So it's a nice little community.
Yeah.
So that feels good. So I'm excited for that. I'm also feeling more connected, right, than I did in 2023. And I want to carry that further and allow myself to open up to some possibilities that maybe I was closed off to in the past.
Yeah. It's
time to do that. I think, again, out of fear, I was kind of holding myself back.
Yeah.
I'm just open to opportunities for exploration and growth in all forms, personally and professionally.
Well, I know what you do a lot of work. I mean, you're always working, like you said before, but you really, whether it be with this community or that you're trying to get started, and what you've done over the past, 5-6 years, maybe. It's really hard. It's hard to run your own business, especially what you're doing, like what you're providing, the spiritual or the healing or the coaching. It's, it's hard for people to seek help because we all think we can do it on our own. So you're putting that out there, but it's, I don't want to say it's hard to find the customers, but people have to be ready for that. So what you do, I admire, what you're doing and what you've done and running your own business, and it can be very hard too. But you do, like, I know you've struggled at times with, like, maybe the clientels go down, or people cancel appointments, or you're not getting the response that you want. But then you get, out of the blue, you get someone that you do Reiki on, and they give you feedback, and they're like, you have helped me so much, and you've changed my life, and you've helped me to be able to grow. And so that's the whole reason for doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, you need money, you need to survive and to be happy or whatever, not necessarily be happy, but to function. But then you know, that's the reason why you do it, is to help other people. So it seems like you'll go through these phases where you start to get really down and you're like, I just don't know if this is what I should be doing anymore. And then you get like feedback from someone out of the blue, and it does justify that what you are doing makes a difference.
Yeah.
So it's like this roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
And it seems like 2023 was like, you're going down the hill on a roller coaster, so hopefully it trends back up this year. But yeah, what I feel like the services that you provide are very selective, so it just, I don't know, definitely a roller coaster ride for you. But I feel like what you do makes a huge difference to the people that you provide it to. So
yeah, that means so much that you see that, and you see me, and you see the importance, and you support it. That's, I couldn't ask for a better partner.
Well,
you know, it's really amazing that I found you. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I found you. You've the past 4 years you've really helped me grow as a person, and I've learned things about myself and been able to develop things. And I think you're the perfect match for me too. You know, I couldn't find someone that was any better. You know, I feel like our personalities and everything just gel. You know, obviously we're doing this. You think you find someone else that would do a podcast like this?
Yeah. And it's really interesting you brought up that person mentioned it. And it's really, every time that I feel like, oh gosh, this is hard, I can't do this entrepreneur thing anymore, I get this message. I feel like, you know, there are messages from the universe saying, no, you're doing the right thing. This is what you need to be doing, you know, in whatever capacity, you know, you need to be doing this work. This is important.
Yeah. Always
get that message of, you need to be doing this. You know, this is right. And then the messages might be through clients saying, you've helped me so much, man, what would I do without this every month that we're working together? Or, boy, thank you for listening. Or, wow, that was such an impactful session. Or, you know, whatever it might be, to messages like the card I pulled today. So I like to pull oracle cards just to, you know, kind of say, oh, hey, you know, what do I need to know today? You know, and the one that I pulled today was like, it couldn't have been more spot on with what I've been talking about and thinking about and exploring over the last couple days, you know. And then a couple hours later, I got a message from someone wanting to collaborate on the things that I had been thinking about. And I was like, oh my gosh.
It's just, yeah. Is it a coincidence, or is it just, you know, the way the universe works?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
So for 2024, also, we're going to get that Butterball some dog training.
Yeah, he needs.
We went through one, and then we were recovering from surgery, right? You were recovering, and we were kind of getting through all that. And now at 10, he's 9.5 months. Yeah. So, and he just got neutered, and so I think we're ready to go back. Yeah. And this is a good time to go back and say, all right, we're going to re-solidify kind of what we learned before.
He's been really good. Yeah. He's been kind of bad on his leash, which I don't think it's completely abnormal. He's trying to assert some dominance or see what he can get away with, but he's biting on that leash and wanting to play tug of war. So yeah, we need to get him back into some training.
Yeah. And baseball is going to be starting again. That was one thing that happened in 2023. Kyle made a travel baseball team. Yeah. He's really good at baseball, and he really loves it. And so I'm excited to see what it's going to do for him and his
skill.
Yeah. This is higher level baseball.
Yeah. And I feel like he's really good baseball player, and he needed to step up. Yeah. I'm not saying, you know, oh, he's so much better, but he needed to play with kids at his level. So it's going to be interesting to see how he handles it and how much he learns. There's a lot more to be learned at this level. So, and it's going to, talking about being selfless and sacrifice, we're going to have to sacrifice some things and, you know, our time and figure that out. So it'll be interesting. But.
And it's kind of inspiring me to up level, as well in my world.
Yeah.
He needs to up level. I need to up level too. I just do.
Yeah.
It's not like, I'm putting unnecessary pressure on myself. I just do.
Mm-hmm.
You know how you have times in your life where you're like, you know what, man, you need to step it up.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I'm feeling.
Well,
and it's not a judgment. It feels to me like a fact rather than a judgment. Whereas before it may have felt like a judgment, but.
Well, that's motivation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if he can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
It's a little different.
Well, and you like thinking about him and baseball, and if you're playing in a league where you're like dominating everybody, you don't really learn anything. Mm-hmm. You don't, if you're not being challenged, you're not
expanding.
Yeah, you're not improving your skill. It's not until you're challenged. If you're just like out there not really trying hard and you're dominating, you're not getting any better. Mm-hmm. You're just beating up on the little guy. So yeah, challenges help you.
Yeah. Who do you want to be in 2024?
I'll stay complacent.
I'll stay complacent. Yeah. No.
I don't like change. Mm-hmm. No.
You've done a really good job with change.
Yeah, I guess I have. When you think about it, I have learned to adapt to situations the past couple of years. So I just think I'll take this year off.
Support us in our changing. Oh gosh, we need you so bad. So how about you? What do you feel, whoever is listening, what does your 2024 look like, or what do you want your 2024 to look like? Whether it's an intention, a goal, just an idea for 2024. Maybe you don't really subscribe to goal setting at the new year, because you can do it anytime. That's absolutely true. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts for 23 and 24? How do you want to move forward? What's it look like for you?
Yeah, something to think about.
All right. Anything else?
No.
All right. Well, we'll see ya next time. Happy 2024.
Yep. Happy 2023. Happy 2024.
All right. See ya.
Bye.